friends. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon. It's 11:13 or so Eastern Standard Time, EST. This is Stash, the relatively angry Polish American, coming at you with a quick one today. Hope everybody's doing well. Continuing to talk about an interesting topic to me, but I don't know how big it is with everybody else. But I'm going to kind of continue to hammer away at it, and hopefully I get some Poles and Polish Americans and people who want to argue about it maybe or whatever, talk about World War II. Hey, I lost my one viewer. Got to give a shout out and a big thanks to Sir Dermot Turing. This is the nephew of Alan Turing. Alan Turing was his uncle. And anyway, I'm just reading the dust jacket to this awesome book that you must read called X, Y, and Z, the real story of how Enigma was broken. Forward by Andre, last name Rzegocki, ambassador of the Republic of Poland to the United Kingdom. Friends changed to foes, World War II. The Poles would teach the French and the British how to break Enigma. That's the essence of this book. Dermot Turing is the author, professor, the acclaimed biography of his uncle, Alan Turing, of The Imitation Game, who I did criticize on. I basically criticized the historical and media circus or attention only solely given to the codebreaker Alan Turing. However, ironically, and this is interesting, his nephew, Dermot Turing, has, I'll leave in the liner notes here later, he's an excellent YouTube on what really happened. I almost go to think he's a great guy. He set the record straight that, I'm sure I haven't read it in great detail, but I'm sure his book on his uncle, the very much more famous Alan Turing, is quite excellent. But in this, he really lays out the importance of the Polish mathematicians, the Polish code breakers. Indeed. And get a look at it here. So get this book. I've got it on Kindle, but this is a hard copy. X, Y, and Z signifies the British, the Poles, and the French, who indeed broke the codes. It's very interesting. It also tells some of the story of the Polish Cipher Bureau's amazing success in war with Russia before World War II broke out. And there's some photographs. I've not seen him before. Anybody jump in? I'm going to be doing a little bit more on this, but this book is very interesting. There's more on Marian Rojewski and the Poles, and basically goes through how it would have taken a lot longer to do it for Bletchley Park. It does show things about how what happened to them after the war, and how they were, dismissed. A little bit more on the French. Gustave Bertrand, excellent spies from France who were involved as well. And how the Polish leader Józef Pilsudski was able to use the code-breaking ability in the Russo-Polish War to obtain victory. Anybody out there Talking about the codes is not huge, I know. This won World War II. What can I say? There's a photograph of the French spy master. He's intense. He's got eyes like right out of a Dr. Dr. Mubus. Right out of a Fritz Lang movie. They have a picture of the replica of the Polish Bomba, the first machine designed to find the Enigma settings, and the bunker in the woods in Pryry, or Pyry. So this will blow your mind. If you're Polish, you've got to check out this book. A little bit more details about General Sikorski, who mysteriously his plane crashed. Some defensive news. There was nothing they could really do to entirely save Poland, as they were going to get hit by the massive power of the Wehrmacht, the Germans, on one side, and then the massive power of the Soviet on the other side. An inconvenient truth, talk about that, is World War II for Poland, which delicately and tactfully Dermot Turing goes into. There's a famous photo of Guido Longa, Gustave Bertrand, the spy, and Kenneth Pinky McFarlane. All excellent code-breaking spies. Sorry, this is a little bit sloppy, but I'm just going into basically highly recommending this book, X, Y, and Z. And I'm probably going to get off shortly and do a separate one just devoted to that, but I'm just really giving a shout out to Sir Dermot Turing. On some of these YouTubes, of course, I've done some bitching like, hey, all the attention went to Alan Turing in the movie. And you know what? I'm not going to put words in the man's mouth. But the extremely intelligent guy, Dermot Turing, is a professor. Or proof. Anyway. He's knighted, I guess, Sir during term. I don't know if he's a professor, sorry, but he's interesting. Gonna put that on the YouTube in the liner notes. And anybody out here want to talk World War II codes? The entire history of World War II is very much watered down to the point that the academia and the media prefer the movie Pearl Harbor 20 years ago with Ben Affleck and other handsome actors in a soap opera type format. A lot more. Mary Wojcicki, Henryk Zygalski. Apparently, he was a ladies' man, which is cool. You get that from this. Interesting photographs. Mary Wojcicki relaxing with the book. So if you're Polish, you should get psyched about this book. It's a lot better than I expected, and I just again and again got to thank Mr. Turing. Of course, check out his book on his outgo. Otherwise, giving a shout out. But again, focusing on the brilliance of the Polish code breakers, which has been mightily suppressed. This book does what it can. And it's pretty detailed. and again, including the 1920, 1919-1920 fight between the Russo-Polish War, of which the Poles came out victorious in that one. Indeed. Again, I hold it up. X, Y, and Z. The Polish held on to the secret, and they made a decision to teach it to the French and the British. How to break the Enigma. That's the scenario. Not a buried, neglected history. Not the imitation game. I think it's time for the West, and probably in particular the Americans, to get right about history stuff, because even now, political discussions and big tech, massive censorship, and an academic world, in a media world, controlled only by emotion, which you might say I am by just jumping on here and giving so much emotional credit to this book. And I have to, because this is an issue that is mightily suppressed. And it's been said that certain people who have come over to the States in the 90s are Poles with good technical ability, and they've been accused of leaving behind being pro-Polish. And actually, some of the Polish Americans that were a little bit older have more of a American patriotism and more of fire for Poland in the mind, in the sense that anybody from Poland needs to never forget the Katyn Forest massacre. Of course, I'm probably saying it wrong, because I'm a Polish American, an American all the way. But I feel the connection, and I'm going to keep, whenever I can, sort of discussing this stuff. This is, if you're a World War II buff, a key also to understanding the reality of that war. How important the code breaking was. There's no way it came in. There's no way that once that was achieved, that the Axis powers could win. There's no way. And if you doubt it, tell anybody from Coventry, England, who had to pay the price so they wouldn't reveal. Apparently, how good an idea that was, I don't know. There's new things coming to light about the war, about Pearl Harbor, about the Gulf of Tonkin, that when properly researched are quite different than the, how do you say it, rose-colored glasses. If you're reading about World War II history, and particularly the complex position of Poland being deliberately silenced so as not to offend the Soviet ally, was a hard position to be in. And as I say on mostly every time I try to do a vlog or talk about Poland, we must never forget they weren't allowed to march on Victory Day. They were to remain silent. Their efforts are totally marginalized and forgotten. I think I'm one of the only people that I know, really, to bitch about, to complain about the suppression of the Polish American tribute in the form of Colonel Matt Urban, and to only slightly lesser extent, Francis Gabreski, the fighter pilot ace. Anyway, it goes on. So I'm actually gonna. I might even do later tonight or today more on XYZ. But thank you, Dermot Turing. I'm gonna just for a second. I believe it is Sir Dermot Turing. Again, which I called him on this little vlogcast. a man who knows his stuff. Let me just see if that's his proper title. Yeah, Sir Dermot Turing, a British author. Born in 1961. Educated at the Sorbonne School, King's College, Cambridge. He's the nephew of Alan Turing, who died in 1954, unfortunately. Dermot Turing became a trustee of Benchley Park, where Alan Turing worked as a cryptologist. Okay, so that was 2018, that X, Y, and Z, the real story of Enigma. He was awarded the Knight's Cross and the Order of Merit of the Republic of Poland for highlighting the role of the Poles in breaking the Enigma code. Very well deserved. So, and yes, he has the title of Sir. He's the 12th Baronet in the Turing Baronetcy. Pretty cool. I guess I'll probably do an exclusive vlogcast about XYZ. Gained positive critical reception. The Zelinsky sheets, the bomba invented by Zygalski. The Polish Marian Zygalski was able to work out the rotors and mechanical setup of the Enigma machine from communications intercepted by France in 1932, provided to him by Gustave Bertrand. Zygalski was a mathematician who used group theory, particularly the study of permutations, to calculate this information. He worked alongside Jerzy Rozycki, Rozwyki, and Henryk Zygalski. Forgive my pronunciations. To decode intercepted German communications until the beginning of World War II. The Germans made some changes in the rotors, so at a certain point, the effectiveness was reduced, but nevertheless, the success is clear. And they handed over this information to the French, and in particular the British ally. So, I believe only 2 of the 3 super Polish code breakers made it, actually, as they fled. A lot of the other guys were captured. And a remarkable tale of intellect, bravery, and camaraderie. The book is great, filling out our picture of the Second World War code breaking. An invaluable appendix. The book contains little new information about Enigma. Okay, I don't know about that. I could contest that, but gives information about the Polish team and the political background to the code breaking. Very, very suppressed. So I am glad I discovered this book. And hats off to Sir Dermot Turing. I'm going to talk more about this book in a little while. Hope everybody else is doing good and enjoyed this impromptu vlogcast. Don't worry, I'll be on with my more typical topics of greater popularity. But don't forget, there's Mickey Mouse stamps from the post office, but none for Colonel Matt Arbine. And really, the world hasn't recognized the contribution of these people. As they went into obscurity after incredible tales, must have been rough for them. Poles not allowed to march on Victory Day and not allowed to share stories of their adventures until really long after they were dead. Okay. Hope you guys are doing good. God bless, and hope this was helpful. Ciao.